wife and I started a business together. Over the past 8 years, we jointly ran a security equipment company. Just as the company had passed a major refinancing review by a local bank and was growing steadily profitable, my wife, who served as the executive director, died unexpectedly. Since then, I had lost interest in the business. Although I knew it was wrong, I left work unattended and spent my days cooped up in front of my wife's picture, becoming a typical waste of space. Naturally, the business couldn't proceed as planned, and the bank stopped lending, leaving the company unattended for a whole month without leaving the house. By the time I regained my sanity and recovered a little from my grief, the business had already reached a point of no return. I couldn't repay the financing I had obtained to this day. I was thinking, well, just give up. I walked scruffily into a hardware store with a beard of a month's growth, bought the thickest rope, and tied it to the ceiling fan when I got home. I stood on the chair. It wasn't as terrifying as I thought. All I had to do was kick the chair over, and everything would end immediately. But I was just daydreaming, thinking that the knowledge of a life flashing before your eyes, or having a revelation at the last moment, was all fabricated. Just as I was thinking it was about time, I took a glance at the chair beneath my feet. I noticed something in front of it. That thing, with greasy long hair hanging down, bloodshot eyes peeping out between the hair, and a grinning mouth that made one nauseated. It was looking at the chair I was standing on, and I distinctly felt it hoping for me to hurry up and fall. Without thinking, I stared at it. It seemed to notice my gaze too, and met my eyes. It also looked a bit startled. Its mouth corners drew down slightly, but soon restored its creepy grin and said, in a middle-aged man's voice,
"If you're going to die, can I have your child?"
Before I even had time to figure things out, I reflexively said, "I'm not going to die." Only after saying that did I realize how terrifying the thing I was doing was. I have a 5-year-old daughter. Since my wife's death, I have neglected her and dumped her on my wife's family for care. It's been a month since I've thought about this. I immediately untied the noose, got off the chair. The creature from earlier had disappeared, but I could still feel its presence in the atmosphere. I went straight to my wife's family's house to apologize and cry, holding my daughter. Both my daughter and my in-laws forgave me in tears. I'm now a salesman, paying back the debt and raising my daughter and struggling to stay alive. I don't know what would have happened if I had died then, but I have a feeling that the inexplicable creature really did exist, hiding somewhere, yearning for me and my daughter. This happened in April of last year. After our club activity ended, we would tell ghost stories in the club room to pass the time while waiting for the bus. This had become our routine. Although it was telling ghost stories, most of the stories we told were actually jokes that would make you laugh at the end. In addition, to keep our advisor from finding out, we would always turn off the lights and block the door with the speakers. That day, the members present were me and 2 senior students who were a year ahead of me. It was very bright outside the room that day, and everyone was not in the mood. Just as we were saying we should go to the bus stop now, we heard a knock on the door. Thinking it was the advisor, the 3 of us held our breath, but the voice outside the door turned out to be Kay, who graduated last year.
"Why is the door closed? Open it.
Kay is a prankster, so he probably just came to play without notifying us. While I was about to move the speakers, I was stopped by one of the seniors. That senior was a member of the same band as Kay. Kay had important matters at the university today and even canceled the band practice. It's impossible for him to be here now. As he said this, I suddenly froze. However, the voice outside the door was indeed Kay, and even the senior looked incredulous. At this time, the entity sounding like Kay continued to knock on the door.
Hey, why don't you open the door? This is so mean. Don't do this. No, it's not right. You want me to cry for you guys to see. I'm going to sing. Can I sing Jingle Bells?
Singing Jingle Bells is a running joke of Kay's, and the wording and voice were all indeed Kay's. However, for some reason, it made us feel uncomfortable and feel that it wasn't Kay. If he suddenly went mad, shouting in a completely different tone, it would have been easier for us. Precisely because it is identical to the usual Kay, it creates an atmosphere that makes it impossible to open the door. Unable to sit still, we called Kay.
Kay, where are you now?
Hello? What's wrong? I'm at the university.
The moment he said this, the voice and the knock on the door stopped at the same time. We instantly became scared, and all of us escaped through the window. The call was hung up during our run, and Kay called back out of concern.
What's wrong with you? When you called just now, there was a terribly eerie noise in the background. What was that?
It seems that the voice only sounded like Kay in our ears. After this incident, nothing happened to us and Kay. I still get scared of the club room to this day. If you want to see my videos faster, please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates.